Welcome to Tai Chi, the way to radiant health. My name is Jeff Cote, and I am the Occidental Taoist. In this show, we're going to practice some Tai Chi and Qigong and other Taoist internal and meditative practices. These practices enjoy a long history throughout all of China, and I've had the great opportunity to study with some wonderful teachers, and I want to share that with you. Welcome to Tai Chi, the way to radiant health. In today's episode, we're going to do a short warm-up just to loosen up the body. And then we're going to follow that by learning the actual form, the first mirror form of the Formless Dragon Tai Chi system. It's a short form. It's designed to teach the basic functional elements. And what we're going to do is cover just the first two movements of the form today. We're going to cover all the principles, the positions, and we're going to discuss structure as well as principles of movement and how to adhere to them. Then we're going to go through the form, through the individual movements of the form, a number of times in repetition to let our bodies get a feel for the action of what we're doing so that it can begin to flow. Then after we've done each one of those in individual repetition, we're going to put them together and flow through them together a number of times. So let's begin with a light warm-up. Just as we always do, we want to start with our feet shoulder width apart and parallel. The body nice and relaxed. Drop the tailbone, relax the low back, bend the knees and the hips so you're soft and buoyant in the knees. And we're going to begin with an expansion from the center. Taking a deep breath in, we expand from the center, pressing through the legs and the arms, and then drop and bounce. Usually we do about 15 to 20 of these. Sometimes as many as 50 in a warm-up if you feel like you need to really get the blood moving. Then from this expanding, bouncing swing, we move into a counter swing, which if you remember is just a dropping of the arms, anchoring the hips generally forward and letting the upper torso turn. Then we use that smooth transition to move to a forward and back swing. Again, bouncing in the legs, releasing the arms and shoulders. Here we're just activating the movement of qi and blood, awakening the body, and loosening the hips, strengthening the legs. You can alternate the position of the hands where you go palms up and then palms down. That begins to loosen the shoulders in a unique way where you start to get some rotation in the deep socket, ball and socket joint. And then we direct the bounce towards the center and begin our forward and back counter swing, or the column counter swing is another name for it. Again, you can alternate the palm up position in the front, the palm down in the back, and then palm down in the front and open in the back. Each one changes the way it moves through the shoulder. And then we bring all of that to the center and relax. Take a moment to find central equilibrium, just feeling the three dantians, the lower dantian in the lower abdomen, the middle dantian in the center of the chest, and the upper dantian in the center of the head, and making sure they're stacked on top of each other. Nice and relaxed. Lift and drop the shoulders a couple of times. Make sure they're loose. Check your stance. Make sure you're soft and buoyant, but upright and relaxed. And we bring the hands up and out, rotating the hands, wrists, and fingers, loosening the joints. And the other way. And the elbows. And the other way. Then shoulders. Bring the fingertips together. Shoulder blades down, remember. Hands go out to the sides. Nice full rotations. Keep your weight down. Remember, hands up, you go down. You sink when the hands go up. And we reverse. Coming back, fingertips together, alternating between fingertips together and palms forward, opening up the back of the shoulders. And opening the chest and patting the shoulders. Nice and loose. Keep the shoulder blades down. When you roll open, remember to roll the palms open, thumbs back. That really opens the chest. And when you close, lightly pat behind the shoulders to loosen the shoulder blades. And relax. Just shake them out. Next is a trunk twist from the center. Just turning back and forth from the center, letting the arms lightly pat the waist and low back. And then work your way up to the rib cage. Still doing that twist from the trunk, from the core of the body. And then the shoulder and low back. Right to the center of the chest. And then down the center line, back to the dantian. And relax. Next is the waist rotations, where we're circling that daimai, the girdling vessel. Remember here, your awareness goes to the front as your hips go forward, and then around to the back, as though your awareness is moving around with your waist. Remember, don't tilt the pelvis. We're not trying to tilt back and forth. Treat the cauldron shape of the pelvis as though it were a cup and you didn't want to spill water, so it stays parallel to the ground. And we keep the chest still in space, so I'm not moving my whole body, but I'm actually getting some articulation in the deep spine here. And then we go the other way. And we bring our awareness from the waist down to the ball and socket joints of the hips. Now we're going to tilt the pelvis just a little bit, and we're going to try to really open up the ball and socket joints. Now, to get a really good stretch in the inguinal muscles in here, we widen the feet a little bit as we go and really stretch those inguinal muscles a little. And the other way. First wide, really working those inguinal muscles. And then narrow again, really working closer to the external rotation of the hip. Now, remember, when we shift into one leg and begin this next part, this next sequence in our warm-up, to keep our weight in the center of the triangle of the foot. Little reminder, the triangle, the base of the triangle goes across the ball of the foot, comes to the heel, and back up. We want our weight right in the middle of that triangle. So we shift into one leg, we keep our center line upright, shift into the one leg, soft and buoyant in that leg, pick up the heel of the other, and begin to make small circles with the knee. That articulates the ankle. We're also freeing up the hip here. We go the other way. And we pick up the foot and rotate the foot and ankle. And then the other way. We place that down. Switch sides. Foot and ankle. Rotating the hip and knee. Remember, don't try to make your ankle do anything. You're just trying to keep the foot lightly in contact with the ground, and you're circling the knee in a circle. If you try to do this anything with your ankle's going to get in the way. You're going to find yourself getting stiff and like you're fighting yourself. Same thing's true if you have any weight leaning in that leg. Don't put any weight there. Instead, stay soft and relaxed. No weight in the leg. I can pick it up at any time. Right? We go the other way. And we pick up the foot and rotate the ankle. And the other way. Now you'll recognize all of these if you've been following along in the episodes. These are all these warm-ups we've done. And there's a lot of explanation in those previous episodes. So if you haven't seen them before and this is new to you, you should just go to our YouTube page, SLCT, and check out any of our shows that you've missed. You get deeper instruction on all of these elements. All right. That was a pretty good warm-up just to loosen up the body, get all the joints loosened and free-flowing, and make us ready to do some Tai Chi work. So the very first movement of the Formless Dragon Tai Chi mirror form is called Sleeping Dragon Awakens and Finds His Root. It blends right into the natural Tai Chi beginning move, which you'll recognize from a lot of other Tai Chi forms. But there's a preparatory step here, and this preparatory step is an important element. It takes us from the place of being in Wuji into Tai Chi. Wuji is the primordial emptiness. We're trying to arrive at a complete emptiness of mind, body, and intent when we start. We start with our feet together, feeling the triangles of both feet. Knees are slightly bent, hip is slightly bent. Tailbone is gently extended downward as though there were a small weight hanging from it. And I suspend the head from above so it opens up the back of the neck. The chin is slightly down. The body weight is gently pulling down and sinking directly into the feet. The arms are relaxed and natural by the sides. The tongue lightly touches the roof of the mouth, and the breath moves freely and easily in and out through the nose, into and from the dantian. And I always take a minute to take a few breaths just to drop all the doings that I've been, all the mental doings that I can be engaged in, and all the physical doings, trying to make my body as relaxed and natural as I can make it. And then when I'm ready, I sink into both feet and bring the hands to in front of the dantian. Shift the weight into the right leg, turn and look left, stepping with the heel. I place the heel down, toe up. My weight is still in the right leg. I turn the left foot and I shift now. Remember I talked about receiving leg and expanding leg, just like we did in our silk reeling practice and our coiling practice that we did in the previous episodes. My left leg here is the receiving leg. My right leg is the expanding leg. If I expand my right leg and I don't pay attention to how much I receive with my left, I can very easily find myself pushing myself up on top of tension that exists, and I've already destabilized myself and I'm floating here. My center is up, I'm disconnected from the ground, and I'm less deeply rooted. And rootedness is an important element of Tai Chi. If, however, when I shift, I match the downward pressure with an upward receptivity and a fold in the hip, I can arrive at a natural balance and exchange of force. Okay? What should happen is I should never lose potential energy. I've got so much potential energy in this leg in this position and so much here. If I push this and don't add to the potential energy by folding here, that potential energy gets lost. But if I let it fold, I retain it. Okay. So let's look at that move again. We've got our feet together. We sink into both feet and bring the hands in shift and turn, stepping with the heel. As I turn my foot now, I'm going to bring my hands out, flatten them to the ground, towards the ground, and bring them around to the sides, aligning myself back to central equilibrium now. And then I press down, out, and up. Inhaling in this position, letting it fold. Now notice I sink and exhale. Now that is the whole move of Sleeping Dragon Awakens and finds his root. One of the things I want you to realize in this is that during all of this, we're always maintaining the basic functional principles of calm and relaxed, centered and grounded, whole and complete, and alive and lively. We're trying to always have a sense of the sphere of our personal space and a command of it from our center outward and back in. You'll watch at various points in this activity. If you soften your own vision as you watch me, and you just use your peripheral vision to watch the overall movement of my whole body, you'll see how I work with this idea of sphericity and equalizing the expansion and return, making sure that the sides are always equal. I'm always paying equal attention to the front and back, to the left and right, and to the top and bottom. Okay. So we begin again, feet together. We sink and step, turn the foot, shift, receiving into the left, and exhale. And we expand, the sphere expands and the hands go out with it. On the exhale here, the hands return and sink back down. Now we're going to repeat this last little piece just to get the feeling of the expanding sphere over and over again. So we inhale and expand, exhale and return. Inhale and expand, exhale and return. Always expanding from the center in every direction. So as I expand here, I feel to the front, to the back, to both sides, and up and down from my center, and I return. Now, that is the first move of the form. The important component is once you've done your setup, you really begin to work with that sphere. And from here to the end of this form, you're going to try to never lose that awareness. You're going to realize that eventually the entirety of this form is about the management of that sphere of the personal space and how we're going to do that from the center of our intent and our body action. So let's do that first move one time, and I'll show you the transition into the second move, and I'll do the second move, and then we'll examine what that looks like, what all the different pieces are, where our balance and structure are. So we start, again, we've arrived at our step out. Our hands are here from having pressed down, and we've got that Tai Chi beginning. The next is deflecting left and right. So we shift and turn, and then turn the foot and deflect right. Now, because we're working on the mirror form, this form is actually 8 moves done to each side of the body. So here we're actually going to look at the movement as it goes to the other side of the body as well. So not only is it done from Tai Chi beginning, going, deflecting left and then right, we also have its mirror image, which is deflecting right and then left. Now don't worry about that too much yet. What I'm wanting to do is just give you the basic framework so that you understand and begin to work both sides of the body. At the beginning, you're going to obviously tend to have a better form and a better follow and flow on your strong side, on one side of the body. But that's one of the reasons why it's helpful to begin to train them both at the same time, rather than in the order they appear in the form. Recognize that in the form, this movement really just goes in one direction at a time. It goes up and down, then left and right, and then the form moves on. Later, however, we return to that exact same position. We do the up and down, and we go the other way. So we're going to practice them both here for a little bit. Let's start with having done the Tai Chi beginning. We're finished here, and we're going to do deflect and left and right. So we start with a shift to the left. Remember, we're always playing around with that receiving and expansion. So I receive into my left and I expand with my right, and I'm going to allow that to shift and turn my torso. Remember, my center line needs to stay upright. I want this center line to stay in a line. So as I shift and turn, my hands sweep towards the left. This right hand is going to sweep up, palm up, and the left hand is going to sweep up, palm out. Okay, let's look at that again. We shift, receiving into the left, pressing with the right, and we arrive at this position. Weight is 60 to 70% on the left leg. The knee is open. Don't let this leg collapse. A lot of times when people do this, they'll tend to let the knee drop and they'll shift. You see how this leg is now empty completely. There's no support here, and it's hard for me to move back into it. If I needed to move quickly, the leg would collapse and not support it. If my knee is open, however, and I have to move back, I'm ready to move back and forth easily and relaxedly. Deflecting left. Now the next half of this is deflecting right. So what we're going to do is we're going to pivot our center line, keeping our weight in the left leg, pivot our center line and allow the right toe to lift slightly and rotate out 30 to 45 degrees. Then I'm going to put the foot down, and when it hits the ground, and no sooner, that's when I'm going to shift my weight across. Okay? So I'm here. As I turn, the hands switch. The left hand is going to come out and the right hand is going to come back. The foot rotates. When the foot comes down, then I press with the left and receive with the right, shifting across. Now my weight is 60 to 70% on my right leg and only 30 to 40% on my left. But again, the leg is open. It is not collapsed. My center line is up, tailbone is down, dantians are stacked on top of one another, and I end with my left hand palm up, my right hand palm out. To repeat this move, I'm going to keep my feet in their position, and I'm just simply going to shift and turn back to the left and let the upper body rotate and turn the hands. Now the right is out and left is back. Shift and turn, left goes out, right comes back. Shift and turn, down, up and back. Shift and turn, left out, right floats back. Down and up, over and turn. One more time. Remember, keep that open. Down and turn, up and back. Now let's look at that on the other side. Same move. Nothing else has changed. We're just going to change which side does what. So we start with the palms down, deflecting right this time. We shift up, left hand goes out, right hand is palm outward, left hand is palm up. Shift and turn as I turn that left foot, lifting the toe. The left hand comes back and the right hand comes out. Place the foot down and shift across. To repeat the move, we simply come down and through, up and back, and across. Down and through, up and back, shift across. Down and through, up and back, shift across. One more time, down Okay. Let's look at the opening move up to that point as a flow, and we'll do that a number of times. To each side. So we start with feet together. Sleeping dragon awakens and finds his root. Tai Chi beginning. Deflecting left and right. Let's take it from the Tai Chi beginning place, because that's where things really start to repeat. When we go to the other side, you'll repeat from there. So now we'll just do Tai Chi beginning into deflecting left and right 2 or 3 more times, then we'll do the other side. We've got Tai Chi beginning. Deflecting left and right. Repeat it again. Tai Chi beginning. Deflecting left and right. Now, if you're starting to get all the elements, the sense of the sphericity, that sphere of your space, you're always feeling like you're moving that sphere and shifting and turning it as a whole, and you've got the balance and the exchange between yin leg or yang leg, or receptive and expansive leg, now we're going to start to give a little bit more attention to our breath and really start to feel this and coordinate it with our movements. So this time, when we inhale, we're going to inhale in the expansion. Exhale on return. Inhaling on the deflect left. Exhale on deflect right. Excellent. Let's do the same thing to the other side now. Let's do the other side. We've got Tai Chi beginning. Deflecting right, receive in the right leg, expand with the left. Turn that foot 30 degrees, place it down, and then shift. Okay. Let's do that again. Tai Chi beginning. Deflecting right and left. Let the hands switch and shift. This time we're going to add in giving the breath attention now. We got Tai Chi beginning. Exhaling down. Inhaling, deflect right. Exhaling, deflect left. Excellent. Always when you finish, you take a nice deep breath, gathering yourself, gathering the chi, and coming back down. Just clearing yourself of any tension or residual stagnation. In the following episodes from here, we're going to continue on learning more and more movements. We're going to try to maintain 2 movements per sequence or per episode, and try to allow us to have a nice leisurely pace until eventually we have the entirety of the form. We'll always review the previous pieces one time through, just so that you never lose it. And we're always going to end with covering exactly what we've covered so far in the form. Shasha. Thank you for joining me on the path to radiant health, long life, and a peaceful, happy heart.